When you're working in boots, sometimes things can get a little messy. My name is Jeremiah Craig and I've been doing cowboy boot videos here on YouTube since 2018. When I first started out, I would basically share my experience with cowboy boots up until that point, and also go to local western wear stores and feature cowboy boots that they had in stock there in quick impression review videos. Eventually, I got the request to test boots for reviews. So I tried it out in what I now call extended test reviews. I would still show the qualities of the boots, but then I would work some sort of job in them, volunteering for a local business or helping a friend with a project on their property. I would record the experience to share how the boots held up in the video. As you can imagine, I didn't always get clear skies and sunshine for these extended tests, so today I want to share the 6 messiest extended tests in boots, starting with the Boulet 9381, which was the first messiest one. This Boulet boot is a roper style boot with a hybrid outsole, and I was even surprised what was in store for them. I headed to Southwick Zoo in Mendon, Massachusetts to work with zookeeper Josh all day on what will be the dirtiest extended test to date. And with that, I need to do a little trigger warning. If you are squeamish to poop or raw meat, you might want to stop watching or skip ahead to the final thoughts of this boot, because here we go. Yes, we pretty much just cleaned up after these fine animals, and we started at the Sika deer enclosure. Once we finished taking care of the deer, we headed on over to wish a good morning to the hyenas. And then we had to clean up after the rhinos. Now, I was feeling like Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic Park for a moment.
That is one big pile of shit.
But it didn't end up being that bad. As they went outside to eat in the sun, we were left inside with a big pile, but it wasn't Jeff Goldblum big. Wow, that shit is heavy. And then we went back in to watch the rhinos play for a minute. These are some happy animals at Southwick Zoo. Next up on the list was the warthog. Yeah, we had to clean out and feed the warthog, and of course, those hogs like their dinner sloppy, so I wet it down. And while they ate in their large enclosure outside, I cleaned up inside. With the warthog's belly full and stall clean, I did something I've never done before: dishes for a warthog. We headed on over to clean up after these big Watusi cattle. Funnily enough, their crap doesn't look any different from the cows here in America. After we finished up there, we took the crap wagon over to the camel enclosure. No one got spit on while we were here. Whoops, missed one. Got it. Next up, we had to feed some of the fiercest animals on Earth. Lions. And also some tigers too. In order to feed these big cats safely, the zookeepers put ground meat inside their shelters, and then while they're there, that's when we put the meat on the outside for them to eat when they come out. And to make it like a little Easter egg hunt for tigers, I'm told to take this meat around to different areas of the enclosure. Good luck finding those tigers. We really didn't make it that hard on them, but we are gonna try to make it a little hard on the lions. Josh tells me that on this tree here, the lions will jump up if there's meat up on top, so I'm gonna give it a try. What a bad first try, damn. Okay, a little closer that second time. Here we go, I got it this third time. Yes, third time's the charm, but here comes Josh. First try. First try. The lions don't care how many times it takes to try, they're hungry. So let him out. He goes for it right away. Yes. Go ahead, buddy. I'm not gonna try to take it from you. Now it's the tiger's turn to eat. And as they come out there fast, well, the Bengal tiger is scared off. And it's kind of like, well, if you're gonna be like that, I think I'm gonna go eat inside. We only had one more enclosure to clean, and that was the oryx, the zebra, and the ostrich. We pretty much just had this one spot to clean to end the day, and the Boulet 9381s did very well. One last thing before we could go home though, we gotta dump it. I'm really happy with how these Boulet boots held up after a crappy but amazing extended test here at Southwick Zoo. The Boulets performed well, and at the end of the year, I gave them a ranking of 15 out of 25 points, due to their size limitations and modern build aspects. I've linked my ranking videos in the description if you want to understand more about how I score boots. Next is the Hondo 3416, which was about to have a wet day at the stables. It was cold, wet, and nasty for these Hondo boots when I arrived at Mothersfield Stables to help out with morning chores. Mothersfield is run by Carol Kozlowski, who campaigned the acclaimed Connemara stallion Aaron Gobra through the upper levels of eventing in the 1990s. Gobra was also known as the little horse that could. Today, I helped Laura Woodruff with chores, and we started out by bringing some horses in. And taking others out. Then, of course, it was time to clean stalls. She brought in the spreader so that we could just pitch it all in. And it was a tight fit. After the stalls were taken care of, we took a moment to hose down this horse's legs and tails to clean the mud and road spray he got from running around in the field. He wasn't having much of it though and kept stepping on the hose. Come on, big guy, not again. Now for a tail cleaning. Soap it up, rinse, and now for a fancy conditioner too. One final rinse, and he's done. Now it's finally time for breakfast. Yummy. Then it was up to the hayloft to restock for later. Look out below. The last thing to do is clean up, and this leaf blower made it really easy. There were horrible conditions for these Hondo boots today, but they did well through it all. The Hondo 3416 did great on that wet day at the stables, and at the end of the year, I ranked it a 20 out of 25 points because they had loose stitching at the pull holes, which they fixed in later models, and I wasn't a big fan of the wide square toe, but they had a great traditionally made build and an incredible value for the type of boot that it is. Next up is Clyde boots and their I Can Do All boot. It sure got its name tested on a wet winter day at the sheep farm. Snow was on the ground, but it was a warmer winter day at Ellis Hollow Farm when I showed up to work in these Clyde boots. Since the snow was melting a little, I could tell it was going to be a messy day ahead, so I decided to tuck in my jeans to protect them from the mud and manure. I also wanted to see what would happen when the white leather got grimy, so here we go. Up in the barn, I met Nancy, the owner of Ellis Hollow Farm, and she told me all about her unique breed of award-winning Ellis Hollow sheep.
On the land, you see the red inside the ears, and as adults, it ends up being just a ring of red on the outside tips of the ears. Everything that's red in the wool will turn into cream color. See, his chin is red. His chin, that's hair, so that'll stay red. And then this will all turn into cream-colored wool. It's a very primitive color pattern. They end up being a really nice size. The ewes are generally about 120 to 150 pounds. They're pretty calm sheep and friendly sheep. And I'm not getting younger. I am an antique farmer, and I don't want sheep that are going to constantly knock me down.
Hey, that sounds nice to me too if I'm going to be working with these sheep today, but we still started off easy and tagged some of the new lambs that were born over the past few days. This little one was first, and her buddy on the ground kept her distracted by investigating the camera. And once she was tagged, she immediately did some investigating herself. Gosh, have you ever seen so much lamb slobber on a lens before? Anyways, we continued tagging some more newborns, and it was relatively easy until we had to tag one of the mothers, who had lost one of her tags at some point. She was definitely no lamb, but it was still nothing a big guy like me couldn't handle. Then one more mama sheep needed another tag, and Nancy got me all hyped up, saying this was her strongest sheep. And as I braced myself for the inevitable, she didn't even flinch. But I didn't really mind it being anticlimactic, to be honest. As we continued with chores, we noticed this little lamb was without her mama and was obviously hungry, so we decided to venture out to see if we could find the ewe, its mom. This is where things got really sloppy for these Clyde boots thanks to the melting snow. And the sheep wouldn't allow me anywhere near them, so I handed the lamb off to Nancy and stood back while she tried to find the mom. None of the sheep stepped forward to claim this little one, so we made the soggy trip back to the barn with the lamb in hand so we could bottle feed the little forsaken rascal. This lamb sure is a cutie, though. With the little lamb fed, it was time to get some straw and hay bales up in the hayloft of the barn. Nancy was up top and I was in charge of loading the bales onto the elevator, starting with the straw. Soon we finished off the straw bales and moved on to the hay bales. After loading a few hay bales on the elevator, it stopped because I had accidentally popped the belt off of the engine. I unplugged the engine before fixing it because I wanted to keep all of my fingers, put the belt back on, plugged it in again, and it was back in action. And it was all great until we finished up for the day. Then I asked Nancy what her goals were for her new breed of Ellis Hollow sheep.
I'd like it to be established as a new breed, and I think it makes a great homesteader breed because it's a nice size and it's friendly.
It certainly was a friendly day on the farm with lots of work accomplished in these Clyde boots. The I Can Do All boot definitely did it all at Ellis Hollow Farm, and at the end of the year, I scored it a 15 out of 25 points due to its limited sizes, a below average rubber outsole, and I wasn't a huge fan of the design, but they were traditionally made and had a great value for what they are. Next is the Justin Stampede, which stampeded right into the dairy barn. I was in for a messy day when I arrived at a Western New York dairy farm to help a local pest control company spray for flies. Spraying for flies makes a huge difference in how much milk cows can produce, and we're not talking about ounces, we're talking about a couple of extra gallons from each cow per month. So I suited up with the proper pest control attire and prepared myself for the crappy experience that is a dairy farm. My job was to haul the spray gun and the hose into the barn when the cows were out for milking. Then, as the certified professional sprayed, I was to pull in all of the slack so he could concentrate on spraying and not pulling around the hose. Luckily, they cleaned out the next run before we sprayed the other side of the barn so it wasn't as sloppy. I worked in a dairy barn occasionally when I was in high school, so I'm pretty used to this. It doesn't mean that I like it, there's just a moment when you get used to being around so much shit. After the inside of the barn was complete, it was time to do the outside. I quickly found out that some places of the outside were just as sloppy as the inside of the barn. After finishing up the inside and outside of this barn, we were running low on formula, so we had to go get some more water. Once filled up and the formula mixed in, we headed back to start on the next barn. On a dairy farm, everything revolves around when the cows get milked, so it was a race against the clock to try to get this barn done before they returned from milking. We were on the last section of the inside of this barn when the cows came home, so to speak, so it was up to me to herd them back and buy us a little bit more time to finish up the spray. We finished up so the cows could go back to doing what they do best, eating so they can produce more milk. The Justin 2551 definitely wasn't the best boot for this type of work, but they survived the day. Muck boots would definitely be better for the dairy barn, but this Justin Stampede is a very modern-made boot with lots of synthetics, so maybe it's not that different than a muck boot. I didn't use the same scoring method when I ranked this boot, but it's nearly the same as the Ariat Heritage R-Toe, which I scored an 11 out of 25, so the Justin Stampede would receive a similar score, if not a touch lower, due to less sizes. Extended test review videos take a ton of work to produce. Not only am I working in the video, but I'm also running around while working to record it. I spend a lot of time organizing the extended test with the person that I'm working with, and then I'm also editing the video after the fact. Usually it takes around 40 to 60 hours to make one of these extended test videos, and due to recent changes in the YouTube algorithm, I can no longer afford to post these extended test reviews on YouTube. The good news is I've started a special area of my website at jeremiahcraig.com called the Boots and Ballads Bunkhouse, where I'm posting quick impression review videos of boots, extended tests, extra boot videos, and live streams, plus so much more. So if you'd like to support these extended test reviews moving forward and my efforts online, head on over to jeremiahcraig.com/membership and sign up for your preferred tier. Thank you so much for your support. Now let's get back to the video. I love finding slightly used boots online, and I thrifted these practically new Double H 2305 boots that were made in 2002. They had a 3 to 4 day extended test lined up at my buddy's house. Alright, showed up in the boots and these redhead jeans that I cut slits in to be more boot cut, and I'm not really a huge fan of the look generally, but these are work jeans, so it really doesn't matter. And these boots are true to size and a perfect 12B fit for me. I love the toe shape for a pair of work boots. So I'm at my buddy Steve's house, and he's trying to fix the drainage in his yard so his basement doesn't flood anymore. All of this is gonna get tore up, and he's gonna put in a retaining wall and bring up the front yard a little with the spoils we tear up from the back. With the plan all set, it all starts by taking out this big old stump, and unfortunately, the rental place delivered a smaller excavator than what Steve ordered, so this might take a little bit longer than planned. But I'll try to make up the difference with a little shovel work and wheelbarrow work. These boots fit so well, and the leather is pretty nice too, so walking back and forth with the spoils is pretty easy. With the stump dug out from the top of the hill, it's time for Steve to attack it from the bottom of the hill to get ready to pull out. And a little extra root cutting with the Sawzall won't hurt either. Okay, it's time to try to pull this thing out now. And it's not budging at all. So we have a little bit more work to do. Steve dug out the bottom side a little bit more. We attacked the top sides with bars and picks to loosen up that dirt and clay, keeping that stump stuck. Bootmaker Dan Schwartz calls things like this ignorant pigs, and I definitely said that plenty with this stump. All right, attempt number 2 from the other direction, and still nothing. But then a third attempt, pushing the stump with the bucket, and we get some movement. Look at how pumped I am. We were fighting this stump nearly all day at this point, so I'm so happy. So he set up to pull it the rest of the way over, and with a tug and a pull, over it goes. Success! We shake hands after a job well done that took much longer than what was planned, but that's usually how it goes with stumps. The roots from this tree were so thick and extended so far, but it was out, and we drank a beer on the overturned stump to celebrate. The next day we had to move the stump and grade a soft pitch so that a dump truck could drive up with a load of stone. The excavator couldn't handle the stump by itself, so Steve brought his truck over to pull while I pushed with the excavator. With a little help from the bucket as well, we got the stump out onto the road where the truck hauled it down to the corner of the property, no problem. Already off to a great start. Now it was time to move some dirt to prep for the stone delivery at the end of the day. Lots more shovel and wheelbarrow work, moving dirt, but no issues with these boots on day 2. The fit is great. A little bit of raking to fill in the divots, and by early afternoon we had a great pitch for the truck to drive up on. And here they are, Finger Lakes Stone Company, with the first load of stone for this project. No issues with the pitch of the ramp we made for them, and they were gone as fast as they arrived. Another successful finish to day 2 in Double H steel toe boots. I wasn't able to help out the next day, but it rained a ton for those guys, so my third day of helping, it was such a muddy mess. The goal for the morning was to remove the previous drainage pipes Steve had hired somebody to put in. Once uncovered, we found that they were installed wrong and weren't doing anything really, which Steve wasn't happy about, wasting all that money hiring somebody. And I can't say I blame him. With the old pipes out, it was time to prep the ground for the new pipes, but we had a bit of an issue. All of the mud caused a track on the excavator to get thrown, so the whole right side wasn't moving at all. I tried to pull it back on, but no luck on the first try, so Steve tried to help too, but still, nothing. So Steve tried to reposition the excavator to get at the track better, but it was too muddy. So it was time to switch it up while we waited for the ground to dry out and work on the retaining wall that they started the day before. Carrying blocks up a hill in steel toe boots is always a good workout, so we got to work installing some drainage pipe on this side of the wall and covered it up with some fabric, and now to top it off with some stone. And the mud does not make pushing this wheelbarrow around very easy. In addition to putting the stone on the drainage pipe, we're also using it to help bring the blocks up to level, so each layer on top will be level too. So these foundational pieces take the longest to get right. With everything looking good, we backfill the rest of the stone. Then the fourth day was very much the same, as we created some steps to get to the top portion of the yard on the other side of the retaining wall. And that was the bulk of the work that Steve needed help with, so after 4 days, I was very happy with the performance of these Double H steel toe boots. That was such a fun project for the Double H boots. I didn't make a ranking video that year, but I found them to be pretty much the same as the more modern Double H Dylan boot, which ranked a 15 out of 25 points for me. And I would score the 2305 similarly, maybe a touch higher, because I found the older fit more comfortable. Finally, let's close it out with another Hondo boot, but this time it's the 8555 for a project on the farm. It's another cold, wet day for the Hondos, but luckily it's always beautiful here in Andover, New York, with Sue and Rick.
I'm Rick Bull.
I'm Susan Bull, and we're at Bull Montrose 6 Farms. So here, right behind us in the barn, we board horses, and we have spaces available to board horses.
Right now, immediately today, we have 4 that we could put horses in. With some juggling, we could add 6.
We also have 3 funny, lovely little minis on the side of the barn that we're looking to have some parties. So we're looking for kids that want to have fun birthday parties and maybe just a family event, something fun and different.
And we're working with these cute minis today, building a door to their stalls for easier access outside. It sure is a muddy one too, working right on the side of the barn where the rain and snow drips off the roof. But that won't stop these Hondos, or us for that matter, putting together this door for the minis. With the frame of the door built, we put it into place with hinges, and after some of Roy's boogers on the camera, voila, she swings easy and free. I love how these minis are so curious and fun-loving, especially Priscilla, so I had to take a selfie with the famous girl. Okay, enough selfies, time to cut the board for the door frame. It's nothing crazy, it's just a barn door, so we line it up, put some screws in it while standing in the cold mud. And our audience certainly wanted the best seats possible to see the work coming along, and they seemed pleased when the door was done. But they didn't know that we still needed to put a latch on the door and close off the rest of the wall. After some drilling into these old hardwood beams, the latch was installed, and next was closing off the rest of the opening, which we made quick work of. All done. Next, it was time to clean the stalls, and with all this change, Roy was wondering, what the heck is happening? Don't worry, Roy, everything will be back to normal soon as we get a fresh layer of sawdust down for you. As long as Priscilla doesn't escape first. It takes 2 wheelbarrows full to finish out the stall, so I spread it out quick before going back and getting some more. Then I dumped the rest and spread it out to Priscilla's liking, and once she was pleased, she lined up next to me so I could record our feet for a YouTube video. Then we went to clean out the other stalls, and there's really not much to say about this since you've seen me do this several times on this channel, so here's Sue sharing the story behind getting this farm.
This property is new to us. We've been here for 6 weeks. We actually discovered this property even though it was 1.5 miles from our previous home. This property spoke to Rick about 1.5 years ago, and he felt like it was going to be ours. And it didn't make any sense that it would work out that way, but sure enough, here we are. And it's just under 50 acres with this beautiful barn, a riding arena, and lots of pasture for the horses.
Once the last stall was clean, it was time to dump all the muck up the hill with the tractor. Rick asked me if I wanted to do it, and of course I said yes. So up the hill we go at a leisurely pace. And since I had the GoPro in my mouth, I didn't get the best shot, but Sue took a pic from the barn. Then it was back down the hill with the incredible views of Bull Montrose 6 and the Hondos on the gas pedal to lead us back to the barn, where we called it a day.
If you're interested in boarding horses or renting the arena, being a part of the activities we have going on here, you can give me a call. Call Rick at 716-307-0233.
You can find us on Facebook at Bull Montrose 6 Farms. And if you want to be one of our first partiers with the minis, send us a message or give us a call. We'd love to work with you.
What a spectacular day it was in these Hondo 8555 boots. The Hondo 8555 is everything that I wanted from the 3416 that was featured earlier in this video. No pull hole stitching issues with these since there's pull tabs. They've got a classic design and lots of sizes, although I do believe the 3416 has 5 width sizes now as well. So this boot scored a perfect 25 out of 25 points. Boots have to hold up no matter the weather. That's why I like doing extended test review videos. And if you like them too, head on over to jeremiahcraig.com/membership. Sign up for your preferred tier to help keep them going. Thank you so much for watching today, and I will see you in the next one. Peace. The job gets messy sometimes, so you need a good boot for the hard grind, cause you can't spend all day inside. The work's gotta get done, rain or shine. Thank you so much for watching today. Why don't you check out this other cowboy boot video up here? Or I got a music video down here I think you might enjoy. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next time. Peace. Have a good one.